Good afternoon, everyone. This is Henry Gambell with SimplerOptions.com, and in today's free video I wanted to take a look at Tesla. So when I started approaching this chart, and we're currently looking at a daily of Tesla, you had some news that came out of it today that I think, generally speaking, people would probably be looking for it to be down on something like that, but here we are up 2%, and I think that's a good testament to why you trade price and not the news. Okay, well, if we're going to agree to that, what are some levels we can look at as we get into next week? When I look at this chart, I can't see anything other than how we've been essentially very range bound against 220. You've had some extreme moves against it, sure, but it kind of reminds me of SPX around 2100, where we've gravitated towards this price so much, the idea of working short options around that strike price seems to make a lot of sense. Okay, well, if we recognize the range, and that's how we're thinking about this to begin with, then we can come out and give ourselves a little bit more technical work. What I like to do in this is I say sometimes if you blur your vision, it helps. You know, what I'm saying is just don't feel like you've got to get the exact highs and lows. But if you look at this pattern and say, okay, that's the bearish trend primarily, what I would want to see is what's the relationship of this rally. This rally would be a little bit too major and wouldn't come in until much higher prices, so it's not terribly relevant. But one that is often forgotten is the rally that precedes the major decline, and that is very important in this case. So I would like to look at those levels, come in here and grab our fib extension tool and measure that from swing low to swing high, and you can start to see how that level carries some pretty good significance. This level actually ends up being too small, and it has been cleared. But once I run all the symmetry that I see in a chart, then I'll come back and run the retracement of the most recent, in this case, swing high to swing low. And this starts to develop a zone of resistance, 217 to 220, that coincides with the range of the market and something like the idea of working a short 220 call. So I'm going to be doing that with a couple various spreads. You can apply that to your trading as you see fit. And then one last market I was going to look at with you. Or the S&P futures, because everybody's looking at this saying, okay, it's had such a ferocious snapback, everything is back to normal, life is great, and we're headed up into new highs. I will be the first one to tell you I have no idea what the market is going to do, and there's something liberating about that, because then I can come back and say, I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know that we've had a high and a low, then we had a lower high and a lower low, and as of now, this is still a lower high. So as this continues to progress, I'm going to continue to look at it to the short side. When we drill down into some of the smaller, more kind of day trading work that I was using today and into the end of the day, these levels, at least as of now, are still relevant. We'll see how we open up on Tuesday, but mainly using the exact same work that I had shown on Tesla and looking at previous rallies and their relationship to what we'd gone through into the close, and then measuring the retracement of it as well. So I like that idea because it's around 2100. It's currently holding resistance, and even though we couldn't get a whole lot out of it into the end of the day, that's something I'll be looking at as we get started on Tuesday. So I hope you guys found that helpful. I also wanted to take a moment to let you know about the class that Tucker is going to be teaching on July 9th. It's going to be from 12 to 4 Central Time, and we'll be covering the trend trading strategy that he's been using. So if that's something that interests you, you'll have a link that can redirect after this video, and you can get signed up, and I hope it helps.